have no idea how to even begin to explain this other child to my kids. What am I going to tell my children about this child that is not their own mother's?
That was Candy talking about the child that is about to be part of her life, whether she wants it or not, because her husband Ed had an affair and got his mistress pregnant. You do acknowledge that this is your child, correct?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah. And you still have hopes that it's not.
Yes.
Okay, but
In reality, I know it's his.
I mean, you're just kind of hoping against
I'm hoping,
hope
exactly.
that it's not Ed's, but
Right.
you know, based on timing and pattern of relationship and sex, that it's
Likely mine, yes.
it's likely yours. Won't know until the paternity test is performed, but it probably is. What are you going to do about that?
Well, I've gone over it in my mind maybe a million times, and I still don't know what I'm going to do about it because it jeopardizes my marriage even more if I try to get close to this child and the other woman uses the child to get back in the relationship with me. Then that's just going to tear my wife apart. And
let me ask you something. This doesn't affect what you do with the child now that it's here, but your mistress is a nurse. You're a physician.
I know where you're going with this,
That just doesn't seem like a very high likelihood of a whoops. I mean, how did that happen? I mean, I know nothing's 100%, but it just seems like stranger than fiction that you two would be the ones that got burned.
Well, you have to understand that at the time, my thinking was I'm on a one-way course out of this marriage, and it doesn't matter what happens.
Are you telling me that you were having unprotected, uncontrolled?
Yes.
So it was okay with you if she got pregnant?
I really didn't want her to get pregnant, but on the other hand, I was kind of like, well, so be it. I was on my way out of the marriage. I really was I had pretty much packed my bags mentally that I was on my way out of this relationship. I felt like everything I've done to my wife, my behavior, everything was consistent with one thing, which is leaving the marriage. That's how I justified it.
Why couldn't he leave the marriage before he started the affair?
I'll let you answer that one.
Well, because I didn't think the affair was going to take on a life of its own. We met and we were friends for a couple of years before we started this, and we just thought it was going to be kind of like a fling, that we weren't going to continue with it. At the time, I was extremely frustrated. I was, not knowing what to do, and I made a conscious decision to have this affair. I know I did it. I remember the day I decided to do it, and I went ahead and did it because I felt like I had nowhere else to turn. But later, the affair just grew and grew, and now here we are. But initially, that wasn't the intent. The intent was just kind of like take a sip of water and then go back to the marriage.
Well, now, you say that it was just a fling and you just thought it would be a sip of water, but yet you weren't guarding against getting her pregnant.
Oh, at that time we were. At that time we were.
By that time, the sip of water theory was gone, and now it was more
now
of a relationship.
We were chugging on it, yeah.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.